At number 10, Lindsay Lohan. Yet another former child star who is addicted to fame is none other than Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay grew up in the spotlight, so really she doesn't know anything else, and the fact that she's not as relevant as she once was has caused her to want to hold on to that fame as much as she can. When she started off in Hollywood, she was a model and actress, making hit film after hit film. From The Parent Trap to Freaky Friday to Mean Girls, Lindsay was crushing it in Hollywood until about 2006. After that, things started going downhill. Soon the only headlines that she was making had to do with her substance abuse and DUIs, but for her, any publicity was good publicity because it kept people talking, and that's what she lived for. Now that she's cleaned herself up a bit, not many people are talking about Lindsay anymore, and that seems to be a problem. From time to time, the actress would make headlines for something shocking like trying to kidnap refugee children and claiming to have been racially profiled at an airport, and these things would get people talking once again, though it isn't always positive. This fame addiction makes you do crazy things to keep you in the spotlight. At number 9, Sahar Tabar. Internet celebrity Sahar Tabar fooled the internet into thinking that she had a botched appearance because she wanted to look like Angelina Jolie. What people didn't know is that her appearance was digitally altered to get that shocking look that she was known for. It all started with one post that shocked the internet, and from that point she continued posting more and more shocking images of her zombie Angelina look. The more her posts circulated on the internet and went viral, the more she fed into this character that she created for herself. Everything was built off a lie, but that didn't matter to her because she became famous and addicted to that fame. She was eventually arrested for what she was posting online and went to jail for it, so that just shows how this fame addiction can go horribly wrong. Sometimes fame can bring out the worst in people. Now before I carry on with the list, I would like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, because it really helps to support the channel. At number 8, Madonna. Madonna has been around for a while now, and somehow she's been able to hold on to that fame. I'm not saying somehow as in she's not talented enough to stay relevant, but I mean it in the sense that so many celebrities have faded into obscurity in the time that she's been around. Why is that? Well, some people say that she has an addiction to fame. Madonna rose to fame in the 80s and 90s, and since then she's evolved quite a bit. Her music isn't necessarily the same as it once was, but that's a good thing for someone like her. A lot of the time, musical artists will stay within their specific sound, and though it's great for those first starting out and climbing the charts, it's not so great when that specific sound or image isn't trendy anymore. For the most part, Madonna has been able to adapt to our ever-evolving trends, and when all else fails, you cause a scandal like when she kissed Britney Spears at the VMAs back in the day. Madonna knows how to finesse to keep herself afloat in Hollywood, and that's good for her. At number 7, Trisha Paytas. YouTuber Trisha Paytas is one celebrity who refuses to be anything but famous. They've been an internet personality since the very conception of YouTube and really hasn't looked back since. They're one of the richest YouTubers on the platform, as was exposed in a recent story from BuzzFeed, but with all of that success comes the backlash that they've faced, and even though it's been ugly at times, there still doesn't seem to be any signs of stopping for them. When you look back at all the controversies and scandals Trisha has been part of, in the past Trisha has been infused with the Vlog Squad, Gabby Hanna, the D'Amelios, Ethan Klein, and so many more creators. On top of that, Trisha has faced backlash for disrespecting the DID community, and the trans community has also been hurt by Trisha's remarks as well. Even through all the drama, Trisha still comes out and continues being online as though nothing happened, and many believe that it's because of their addiction to fame. In the past, Trisha has said that throughout her 20s, they tried to be on as many shows as possible looking for fame, so we know that this is something that attracts Trisha. They may never leave the platform, but they're probably more than okay with that. At number 6, Jake Paul. I think we're all familiar with how bold Jake Paul can be. He's pretty unapologetic when it comes to his actions, and he does some pretty wild things. Recently, he's begun a boxing career, and he talks a lot of smack when leading up to a fight. In the past, he's trolled his opponents online and has made public remarks about those he's looking to fight, and he's ruffled quite a few feathers online. This could be enough of an argument to say that he likes attention, but also take into consideration the fact that he also grew up into fame, starting out on Vine back in the day, and later bridging over to the Disney Channel where he gained a following from acting. He's racked up a number of supporters, and it seems like this fame has gone to his head, as former professional boxer Mike Tyson has even commented on Jake's quote, ego addiction. In an interview, Tyson said, quote, "There's something wrong with him," end quote. He's also commented on how different Jake is from other boxers because he cares more about the notoriety than the money that comes with these matches. So I think it's confirmed. Jake Paul is addicted to fame, and everyone knows it. At number 5, Chrissy Teigen. In recent weeks, Chrissy Teigen has been facing backlash ever since she was exposed for having cyberbullied Courtney Stodden back in the day. Leaked DMs and past tweets exposed how mean Chrissy was to Courtney, and as a result, Chrissy was cancelled, but since then, it seems as though Chrissy has been feeding off this bad publicity to keep her name in the media, or so people think. For the past few weeks, Chrissy has been riding the cancellation train, commenting on how unfair it is that she's facing the unrelenting wrath of the internet for some time now because of her drama with Courtney, and some people have started to catch on to the fact that every time she complains about how people aren't really the biggest fan of her right now, it makes a headline. Just recently, Kourtney Stodden commented on the situation with Chrissy saying, quote, "I think that continuing to gripe about cancel club or whatever that is, I think step out, take your part, and maybe do something with charities," end quote. This was in response to the fact that Chrissy keeps on, quote, "looking for sympathy because of her cancelled status." It looks like Chrissy is feeding off her cancellation to maintain her fame, in a way which is a little backwards, but seems to be working in its own bizarre way. At number 4, James Charles. You would think that after having the internet cancel you so many times that you would just take the L and leave, but not YouTuber James Charles, which has led to people believing that he's just in it for the fame. Over his time online, James has landed himself in a number of pretty serious scandals. There was a whole Bi-Sister scandal of 2019 that saw the YouTuber lose millions of followers overnight. There's been the numerous allegations of misconduct against James, and with his recent slew of misconduct allegations, he's lost his hugely successful collaboration with Morphe Cosmetics, and his YouTube channel faced demonetization as well. After all the hits James has taken over the last few years, with all of the backlash he's faced and everything he's lost, how is he still around? Well, people think that he's just too addicted to the rush that comes with internet fame to step back now. For a lot of people, bad publicity is still good publicity, even if it taints your reputation, because at least people are still talking about you. James still has a pretty big fan base, but he loses thousands of supporters with every scandal he's in. Do you think there will ever come a time where James throws in the towel, or do you think he's in too deep? At number 3, Charli and Dixie D'Amelio. Charli and Dixie D'Amelio are some of the biggest influencers on TikTok, and they seem to be absolutely obsessed with their own fame. They're teenagers who grew up on the internet and have been exposed to fame at a young age, making it so that their growing follower count gives them some sort of rush. This is at least what psychologists believe when it comes to young people online, saying that this fame addiction is going to greatly affect kids in the future. They say that because these kids are so addicted to fame at such a young age, that in the long run they won't have a solid grip on reality when they enter deeper into adulthood, and that could prove troublesome. So not only are these guys addicted, but they're melting their brains at the same time, more or less. At number 2, Joe Exotic. After rising to fame with the release of the Tiger King documentary, Joe Exotic has been basking in his newfound notoriety, even from behind bars. Even though Joe was the talk of the town for a couple months back in 2020, Joe has been trying to hold on to whatever fame he has left and is trying to use that to get himself out of prison. Joe was sentenced to a life behind bars after plotting to end the life of his rival Carole Baskin and also animal endangerment. But after all that, Joe still tried to reach out to his fans, sending messages to them from in prison and even giving interviews from behind bars. We know from the documentary that Joe had always been searching for fame. He put himself out there with his music career, his web series, and even the fact that he tried to get picked up for a reality show. So finally, when his time in the spotlight came, Joe just didn't want to let it go. No one is really talking about the Tiger King anymore other than Joe himself, showing us that once he got a taste for fame, he got hooked and is not letting go. And finally, at number 1, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is one of the most famous people in the world. She went from being Paris Hilton's assistant to being a billionaire celebrity slash influencer. You can always catch Kim on social media, making waves in the news, and everyone wanted to keep up with the Kardashians at one point. But there's a dark side to all this that Kanye West revealed in an interview where he commented on how Kim is addicted to fame. When he brought up the idea that Kim was a little too caught up in her own fame, Kim in response said, quote, "I do agree that fame can be addictive, and it took me a long time to recognize how lost you can become when you put too much focus on it. People often ask me, money or fame. My focus has always been on success, and with success comes money," end quote. Kim also went on to say that at the beginning of her career she felt more strongly about fame, saying that back then she equated fame with success, but she claims to have a very different view on things now, being more focused on money than social status.
Starting off our list at number 10 is Nicki Minaj. The 36-year-old rapper is known for her vulgar lyrics and rainbow-colored wigs, and that is because she has no problem flaunting either of them. She has 103 million followers on Instagram and loves to show off the 3 B's: brands, body, and booty. Her bio even says her name is Barbie, which she likes her fans to call her. Well, Barbie or Queen. Throughout her career, she's gone above and beyond for her image and the fame that it brings her. She recently lashed out on social media about other celebrities and artists wearing wigs similar to hers, saying that they were copying her. Are we in elementary school? Who cares? It was even reported that she fired her entire glam squad and hired a new one to achieve her new look as Barbie. If you follow her, you already know that she's often in a scuff with another celebrity. More recently, it has been Miley Cyrus taking the punches. Just a few weeks ago, on June 21st, Nicki dissed Miley on an episode of Queen Radio where she compared her body to a Purdue chicken and and accused her of a sexual encounter with Mike Will Made It. Miley hasn't acknowledged the comments or even entertained them, so it just goes to show that Nicki has to be in the spotlight even if it means putting down another woman. However, I don't like to judge celebrities because I obviously don't personally know them. Nicki has opened up about the struggles of her childhood and her father's abuse and drug addiction, so it could be that she's addicted to the fame because her success just shows her how far she has come. At number 9 is Will Smith. The hilarious and talented actor has been famous for years and has no problem completely owning it. While appearing on Jimmy Kimmel Live, he got candid about his fame, saying, and I quote, "I want people to recognize me. I've met a lot of people where fame can be a burden and I just love it." To be fair, he always has a lot of fun with his fans and goes above and beyond to have conversations with them and takes different fun videos and pictures with them. He went on to explain how the perks of his fame can come in handy at very unexpected times, like the time he went to a gas station for gas and forgot his wallet. True story. Rather than calling to ask his wife to drive 30 minutes both ways to bring him his wallet, he used the fame card. He rolled down his window in hopes that a 36-year-old dude next to him would recognize him from Fresh Prince. Sure enough, he did, and the two then began talking and taking pictures. The man ended up spotting Will the cash, and the actor asked for his information so that he could repay him for the favor. Personally, I love Will Smith. Even if he is addicted to fame in some way, I still think he does it in a very respectful way. You can appreciate your position and do good with it, and I think he does a good job at that. Taking over our number 8 spot is Lindsay Lohan. The actress has been in the spotlight for many years and for many different reasons, some good and a lot of them bad. In more recent years, she struggled with different addictions to both drugs and alcohol and even faced some jail time. But one addiction people have always accused the actress of is fame. Back in 2014, the actress made a list of famous conquests she had her eyes on, aka a sex list, which had 18 names revealed and 18 blurred out. I feel like you only do that if you're looking for some kind of attention from it. She says it was part of one of her programs to make the list and that someone took a picture of it and leaked it, but people were finding it hard to believe that her program would have her write out a Hollywood sex list. Some people saw it as just another way to try and grab the media's attention. And for the record, the men on the list either denied it or ignored it. Just a few years ago, she moved to Dubai because she said paparazzi are illegal there and she was tired of being in the spotlight and wanted to get out of Hollywood. This was refreshing for fans to hear. However, it was contradicted when she then later announced her new MTV show, Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club. She is now the leading lady of the whole show in Dubai and even came back to LA to do press and appearances for it. She could have got back into acting, but instead she chose reality TV, which is usually the first sign of people just wanting to be on TV. It's hard to say. I personally just think that once she maybe finally escaped the fame, she just ended up missing it. It's kind of all she's used to. Swiping our number 7 spot is Chris Rock. The comedian has no problem filling arenas after rising to fame in the early 90s. He became a superstar performer, which naturally brings fame, and Rock has no problem with it. He actually really likes it. The comedian said he loves being famous and even compares it to being a hot chick and said, I quote, "It's almost like being white." I mean, we can't really expect him not to make jokes about his stardom. During an interview on The Approval Matrix, he said, "Are people wrong to want to be famous? No, it's what David Spade always says. Being famous is just like being a hot chick. You ever go to a baseball game or a football game and a hot chick walks through the crowd and goes to the bathroom? Guys clap. Everybody looks. It's just famous." He uses comedy as a way to explain that loving fame isn't something that should be frowned upon and that it is okay to want it and enjoy it. And at number 6 is Blac Chyna. I feel like she's one of those people that you have to research why she's actually famous, kind of like I had to do for this video. Her real name is Angela White, but she was once a stripper in Miami and went by the stage name Blac Chyna. She wanted to pursue modeling and she was even cast to be a stunt double for Nicki Minaj in a music video, Monster by Kanye West. Her career then began to take off and she started appearing in magazines and making a name for herself. In 2011, she started dating Tyga and had a son with him, and then years later began dating Rob Kardashian. The two of them started appearing on their own reality show called Rob and Chyna. If you watched it, that is where we saw them fight and also have their daughter named Dream. In late 2016, the couple called it quits and the show was cancelled for good. At that point, Blac Chyna was a mother of 2, which you might think would be a a good time to focus on family, but she had no intentions of leaving the limelight. In fact, she always finds a way to make sure that she's in it. She created her own brand of eyelash products and also signed up on a reality show called The Real Black China. One thing she isn't a fan of is when people say that the Kardashians made her famous. In response to this, during an interview, she said, "I was already famous before the Kardashians. I was already a celebrity. Even back in DC, I took over that. Went to Miami and I was a celebrity down there. Came to LA, same thing. I kind of ran all 3 states and I'm actually kind of proud of that." Is anyone else thinking the same thing? Like, girl, you are not running LA. I had to Google who you were. Halfway through our list at number 5 is Robert Downey Jr. He is another person on this list who came from a dark past and turned his life around, which might be why he is enjoying the fame so much. His struggles with drugs and alcohol have been very well documented, and even his time in prison. But he managed to turn his entire life around and is now one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. Forbes reported that in 2019, the actor tied for 2nd place on the list of highest paid actors, earning $20 million for his film. If you're wondering who he tied with, it is Dwayne Johnson, and Ryan Reynolds is actually in 1st place for $27 million. Fun fact. The actor has been very vocal about how much he enjoys his platform and fame and isn't shy about flaunting just how rich he is. I mean, let's be honest guys, we love him, but he basks in the glory of his fame and money. During interviews, he brags about his watch collections, his cars, and overall just his lavish lifestyle. He is also the one actor in the Marvel franchise that earns an additional 2.5% profit from the movies on top of his contract earnings. It was estimated that he made $15 million for his small appearance in Spider-Man Homecoming, which was reported to only have the actor filming for 3 days, and it was only because that's what he demanded for the role. $15 million in 3 days of work. That is insane. The actor went from behind bars to drowning in money and fame, so he's probably just appreciating it like any of us would. Here we are at number 4 with the Pratts. This one is a package deal. We have the MTV couple Heidi Montag and Spencer Pratt, who are married. I guess she just didn't want to change her name apparently. The two of them became famous on the MTV show The Hills. The show ended back in 2010 and the couple kind of just fell off the map after that. However, that wasn't their choice. They were titled as one of the world's most hated couples at one point in time. And the couple has tried to find a way back into the spotlight. Last year in 2018, they created a podcast to try and gather a new following and also created the hashtag Make Spidey Famous Again. None of this is surprising, seeing as they have admitted back in 2016 to having all of their paparazzi photos staged. Spencer opened up during an interview saying he made a deal with Pacific Coast News to have a photographer named James follow them around and take stage photographs. Spencer explained, and I quote, "We had a 50-50 partnership with PCN and we were making over $1 million selling our paparazzi photos. So you start doing a lot of them and you're like, this is the best gig ever." Real paparazzi actually lost interest in them. The couple admits to actually leaving their plates of food at the restaurant just to go outside and try and grab the attention from the cameramen. I mean, that just seems a little pathetic to me. The Pratts have no problem saying they want to be famous again, and they are hoping to get that chance with the new Hills reboot that just came back to MTV. Alright guys, at number 3 is Charlie Sheen. To be honest, he seems to have liked all the negative attention that he was getting, probably because it was just publicity for him no matter what. He is the son of actor Martin Sheen, so he probably had a desire to follow in his footsteps. He did a good job at that by starring in the hit comedy series 2.5 Men, which had him as the highest paid actor on television for some time. Over the years, his career has crumbled due to his struggle with alcohol and drug addiction, plus his erratic outbursts, which were all documented and shared with the world, of course. He has tried to use his power and fame to insult the 2.5 Men writer Chuck Lorre, and also demanded a pay raise because apparently he is just that famous and deserves that. Back in 2011, when he was still on the show, he was making close to $2 million an episode, and then he demanded he deserved a pay raise to $3 million an episode. The actor has an attitude that he is much better than everyone else, and once told CBS that they can lick his feet because they are so below him. But there is a good ending to this story. The actor still loves his fame and platform, but after being diagnosed with HIV, he is hoping to use his platform to help others that are going through the same thing. He has been sober for almost 2 years, so he is finally getting some positive publicity, and he's loving it, of course. At number 2 is Kim Kardashian. There is a love-hate relationship when it comes to Kim K. Some people adore her and her family, while others say that she is famous for no reason and can't stand her. There has been an ongoing joke for years now that she is famous for being famous. Her family got their own reality TV show when she was younger, which had all the sisters growing up in the spotlight, but no one really knew about Kim until her sex tape came out. Kim herself makes jokes during interviews that the tape is what put the Kardashian family on the map. She even told her sisters, "You're welcome." From there, she considered herself a reality TV star and has started her own makeup brand. She even made an entire emoji collection called Kimojis, where the memes were her face and icons that represented her, like an ass emoji, no joke. Some would say she is simply an Instagram influencer, as she charges over $300,000 for one brand advertisement. Good news is, Kim has no problem joking about the fact that she is famous without much reason. She posted a video on Instagram where her daughter North asked her why she's famous, and Kim replies saying, "My name is Kim Kardashian and daddy is Kanye West. And daddy is a singer, performer, artist. Mommy has so many talents I can't even begin to name them." She ends the video with a playful laugh, as did the people watching it, because at the end of the day, at least she's able to admit it, right? In our number 1 spot is Tana Mongeau. The YouTube star was once just a regular girl posting videos on her channel, but then quickly rose to fame and is eating up every second of it. Near the beginning of her stardom, she would always make comments on her new, wealthier lifestyle, saying how grateful and humbled she was by all of it. But over the past year, her entire attitude has kind of changed. After her split with Brad Sousa, she immediately began dating Jake Paul, which skyrocketed her career even further, and she recently announced that she has her own reality TV show coming out on MTV called Tana Turns 21. I have always been a big fan of her, but that is when I saw the most change about how she started speaking about her success. She began posting videos on her Instagram bragging about being a new reality TV star. It's almost like her whole humble speech just went out the door. In numerous posts, she also begged Jake Paul to buy her a car, even though she definitely has the money for it, but he did it anyways. Or so we thought. She posted a picture with her brand new Mercedes and captioned it, "Never give up on your dreams, kids," and continued to make jokes that she has always dreamed of her man buying her a car. But after getting all that attention and news articles about it, she admitted in a video that it was a fake car and that he didn't actually buy it for her. But the biggest and most recent scandal of all is the fact that the two of them planned an entire engagement for her MTV show, where Jake proposed to her in a Vegas nightclub. No one knew if it was real or not, but he recently posted the actual video of the proposal where he proposed with a ring pop. She used a diamond ring for her pictures on Instagram to make it look like it was real. Jake posted the proposal photo on Instagram and captioned it, "Till clout do us part," with the money emoji. So basically everything she does now is for clout, attention, money, likes, followers, basically just fame in general. She lives for it. Starting us off at number 10 is Terrence Howard. He scored a part in one of the biggest movie franchises in the world after joining the first Iron Man movie cast. It was reported that he got a salary of $3.5 million with the promise of an extra $5 million if a sequel was going to happen, which it was. But that is when things turned sour, because the actor was demanding more money and says that he took a $1 million pay cut and then blamed his co-star for it, Robert Downey Jr. Terrence claims that he persuaded Marvel to hire Robert in the first place when they were first casting for Iron Man, and then when his character was going to be cut down in the sequel, he reached out to Robert for help. But apparently, Robert did not return his calls. He didn't respond well to it and got fired from the franchise, claiming that he basically gave Robert Downey Jr. $100 million. As if he didn't earn that with his performance. Up next, number 9 is Christina Aguilera. It's no surprise anymore that some celebrities grow an ego after they achieve fame, but I personally did not expect it from this girl. In the media, she comes off super down to earth and kind, but one actor opened up about a negative experience with her that might prove her fame has gone to her head. Remember Damien from the movie Mean Girls? You know, the two gay dysfunction best friend? Remember the scene where he sings Christina's song Beautiful in the talent show? Well, he had a chance to meet her and was obviously super excited to have that little bonding moment, as anyone would be, but apparently Christina wanted no part of it and wasn't nice about it either. He told Yahoo Movies that she was so rude, and when he met her and shared that scene with her, she said she never saw it and just walked away. Swiping the number 8 spot is Chris Brown. You know your ego is high when you're storming off the Good Morning America set during the middle of an interview, all because you didn't like the question they asked you. This happened back in 2011 when he walked out of the on-air interview, ripped off his shirt like the Hulk, and then smashed a studio window backstage. Apparently he feels like he can act that way because of his celebrity status. But we all know he thinks highly of himself just based off things that he has said. In 2013, during an interview with The Guardian, he said, "I just think I'm a walking art piece, just a ball of creativity." A walking art piece? Listen, I think it is one thing to call yourself like a creative human being. That's great. I'm creative as well, but I'm not gonna call myself a piece of art or a walking art piece. Next up is Rihanna. Is it a coincidence that she's following her ex-boyfriend on this list? Maybe. Back in 2012, she was making strange headlines, one of them saying, "Should Rihanna go to rehab and does she have narcissistic personality disorder?" If you don't believe me, just Google it. This is a headline. People were diagnosing her, and the disorder is defined as a constant need for attention and admiration. The articles were even saying that Jay-Z threatened to drop her from his label if she didn't go to rehab. In more recent years, one interviewer brought up the fact that her Instagram was filled with a ton of selfies. She said she had an obsession with self-portraits and said, I quote, "It may be narcissistic, but whatever." I mean, you do you, girl. If I looked like Rihanna, I would probably post selfies all the time too. But hey. Moving along to number 6 is Charlie Sheen. His entire career was riding on his hit TV show 2.5 Men, where he was titled the highest paid actor at the time. He was earning $1.8 million an episode, just to put it into some perspective for you. But apparently the fame and success he was receiving fueled his ego, and he demanded a raise. A raise from $1.8 million. It wasn't just like a dinky little raise either. He wanted a 50% raise from the show, and when he got declined, he got angry. He started to publicly insult the creator Chuck Lorre and was dismissed from the series. Later down the road, he was asked if he would ever return, and he said only if he was paid $3 million an episode. He also said, "They owe me a big one," publicly, while they lick my feet. Classy man. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Kathy Griffin. The comedian slash actress has had a very successful career, which might be why she thought that she would get away with a joke back in 2017. Well, I'm not really sure if I can even call it a joke, but whatever. Back in 2017, she decided to team up with Tyler Shields to do a very controversial photo shoot of her holding a decapitated, bloody head of Donald Trump. The image was so real and graphic that sites actually had to blur it and block it, and same with news stations who were covering the story. When she first posted it to Twitter and saw people's horrified reactions, she began to tweet out that she went too far and she will be removing the picture. She took down the picture and apologized for offending people. But months later, she took her apology back and told the Rolling Stone, I quote, "I'm not sorry, I take the apology back 1000%. In 2019, she actually came out with a TV movie called A President Show Documentary, The Fall of Donald Trump. Is this too far? Let me know in those comments. Cruising into number 4 is Snooki. I was a big fan of hers when she started on Jersey Shore, but she had a bit of a diva moment that a lot of people didn't think was justifiable. Back in 2011, she was appearing at an event held by the Rutgers University in New York, and she demanded an extremely high pay of $32,000. The spokesman for the school said that the students are the ones who canvassed for who they wanted to bring in for the budget and funds that they had for a special guest. While some fans were thrilled, other students were furious that their tuition money was going towards paying her to be at the event. She was actually paid $2,000 more than Nobel Prize winner Toni Morrison, who was to speak at their graduation. One student said, "The fact that our school spent more money on her than Toni Morrison is a little ludicrous. Snooki has no accomplishments or achievements that are worth that money." Although I personally feel that that is a little harsh, many people online agreed. Taking over the number 3 spot is another Jersey Shore star, Mike Sorrentino, also known as The Situation. The show found immediate fame and his persona became a fan favorite. But his fame, money, and success all seemed to go to his head because he felt like he was in a position where he did not need to pay his taxes. He was first busted back in 2014 after he failed to pay taxes on $8.9 million in income. It wasn't until 2018 that he actually received his punishment and was sentenced to 8 months in prison. He was also ordered to pay $123,913 in restitution, as well as a criminal fine of $10,000. Mike has learned his lesson and actually admitted that he deserved to be punished like everyone else despite his celebrity status, and he is in a much different place than he was back then, so maybe we can be forgiving for this one. Coming Coming in like a wrecking ball at number 2 is Miley Cyrus. She has been a controversial topic for years now. She's not everyone's cup of tea, but she honestly doesn't seem to care. I personally am a huge fan of hers, but the internet seems to feel a different type of way. Her wild behavior is no secret, and some people think she only acts that way because of her ego and her position in Hollywood. I mean, I'd be lying if I said she hasn't gotten away with a lot of behavior that in the real world we would probably be arrested for. Like the time she was caught doing sexual acts with Stella Maxwell at a gas station. Now in real life, you'd be arrested. Instead, Miley gets her picture taken and she can just kind of laugh it off. I get where people are coming from when they claim that the fame has gone to her head. I don't know what she's like in real life, but to be honest, I wish I did. I wish I was her friend. Winning the number 1 spot in our countdown is James Franco. His fame seems to have gone to his head, but in a more serious and concerning way. We often hear about celebrities using their power of fame as a tool to get their way. 5 years ago, he did this when he was trying to rent a hotel room with an underage girl. Screenshots surfaced showing that she admits to being 17, and he actually confirms his celebrity status with her by sending her pictures with her name written on a sign. This wasn't the last time that this happened though. He is currently in a lawsuit after being sued by 2 of his former acting school students who claim that he used his power to sexually exploit them. I think there's more to it than just fame going to his head, but I don't think we can deny that it has something to do with it. Power is a powerful thing. Starting off our list at number 10 is Rachel Ray. The celebrity chef and TV personality has her own daily talk show where her fans book tickets to her show on a daily basis so that they can be a part of the live experience. But apparently her personality differs when you see her live compared to when she's behind your screen. On TV, Rachel's personality is bright and friendly, but one fan who attended the live show said differently. A fan took her personal review to TripAdvisor and rated her experience a 1 star out of 5. Her review had a whole story of her experience, and in it she stated, "When she came out to greet the audience, she was cold, even seemingly annoyed that she had to do the show. She complained, she rolled her eyes, and was not at all the perky, spunky personality we have come to know on her show." The fan went on to say that she also treated her staff poorly by saying things to them like, "Use your head." Honestly, in my opinion, my only advice is to just go see Ellen next time. You always know you're gonna have a good time at Ellen DeGeneres' show. Moving on to number 9, we have Mike Myers. Fame must have gone to his head from the success of his movies because the director for Cat in the Hat opened up and revealed a story of him being a complete diva and demanding ridiculous things. She did an interview back in 2008 and explained that while filming the movie with Mike, she often found it difficult to perk up his dark mood. She told the story that the actor actually stormed off set because he was infuriated that there was no margarine for his bagel. Only butter. Sources said the actor was so angry because he suffered from hypoglycemia, but that was later cleared up by the actor's rep who confirmed that he doesn't. The movie's director went on to say, "He was emotionally needy and got more difficult as the shoot went on." She admitted that she actually put her young daughter in charge of making sure that he had whatever snack he needed at any given moment. Margarine and butter are not that different. Like, literally not that different. Sliding into number 8 is Sandra Bullock. You're probably a little surprised to hear her name on this list because you don't see the actress making negative headlines very often. However, there have been some reported stories that suggest her celebrity status may have gone to her head a little bit. Back in 2012, a woman came forward and told Star magazine that Sandra was one of the meanest people in Hollywood. Turns out that she had a run-in with the actress while she was out with her husband, who was a veteran in a wheelchair. She was filming her movie The Heat in Boston at the time and was on a film break when she ran into her on the streets. Denise said that her husband asked Sandra for an autograph, but she covered her face and yelled at him. It's hard to believe that side of her since we're used to seeing her play a character like the compassionate mother in The Blind Side, but it is not the only story online that exposes her for being rude to her fans. I did some research. She's got some sass. In spot number 7 is Robert Pattinson. The Twilight actor is actually known to have a sour attitude, so I am personally not stunned by this information because I've heard it so many times. He's been recorded on multiple occasions dissing his own Twilight movies and also the author who wrote the original novels. I don't really get how someone rips on the thing that made them rich and famous. Doesn't really make sense to me. But people were still a little surprised to see his negative attitude towards his fans, seeing as those are the people pretty much supporting your entire career. When he was interviewed for the German edition of Interview magazine, he spoke about his wild fan base and he questioned what his Twilight fans do with their time all day. He said, "Sometimes I ask myself what these masses of people do the whole day. They sit in front of their computers and comment on anything having even remotely to do with Twilight." He also referred to his fans as a crap group of crazies during an interview with Howard Stern. He seems like a lovely man. Rolling into the number 6 spot is Lea Michele. This one is all based on personal opinion because ever since she skyrocketed into fame from her role on Glee, she's come across as a really sweet girl. During interviews, in public with her fans, she just appears to have a good heart. But in 2017, she was titled as rude after walking off the set of Good Morning America. The big debate is, her interview was over when she decided to just shake Philip and Holly's hand and then walk off set. Apparently, normally the celebrity guests will chit chat with them during the commercial break and then leave, but she quickly got up, just shook their hand and then peaced. Fans started tweeting out that it was rude. I personally don't find this rude at all. She could have had somewhere to go, maybe she was in a rush. In my opinion, she smiled, she thanked them, and she left. I don't see a problem with that. However, fans said that it was rude. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Halfway through at number 5, we got Adam Levine. There are a lot of stories out there of people complaining that he isn't a friendly person in real life compared to what we see in the media. You can actually see his personality come through as a judge on The Voice, which he refuses to apologize for. He basically has zero chill and just says things how it is. But one story he's become famously known for is the time when one of his fans asked him for an autograph and he called her ugly instead. The story went viral online after a fan said that she was really excited to meet him, but when she asked for his autograph, he responded with, "I don't give autographs to ugly chicks." Now, it is her word against his, of course, but if that is true, you have to have quite the ego to think that you can say that to someone. Taking over our 4th spot is Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's been reported that she was once extremely rude to an 8-year-old girl who was excited to talk to her about acting. It is no surprise that young girls admire or idolize the actress, many of them hoping to probably be like her one day. But one 8-year-old fan shared her story a few years later, explaining the awkward moment she met her and left completely devastated. Turns out the young girl had the chance to meet her and told her that her dreams were to become an actress. She said, "Catherine turned to me, looked me up and down, and said, 'You're pretty enough, I suppose,' and then went back to her conversation. I went from feeling at ease in the world to constantly thinking about how everyone was judging me on my appearance." I mean, I don't even know how you respond like that. Like some kids "I want to be an actress," my first thought wouldn't be "Are you pretty enough?" That's terrible. Alright guys, in our 3rd spot is Conor McGregor. I think we can name a few different occasions where fame has gone to the fighter's head. Despite his talent and skill, no one can deny that he has one of the biggest egos in the league. He has a massive fan base, which is a huge part of the reason for his success and fame, but there's been times where he's lashed out on them for taking his picture. One example is when he was arrested and charged in February 2019 after taking a man's phone and smashing it on the ground to destroy it. Conor was walking outside of a hotel in Miami when a fan began to take pictures of him on his phone. He saw the cameras flash and immediately snatched the phone, threw it on the ground, stomped on it, and then picked it up and carried it away. The whole thing was caught on tape and the man filed a lawsuit against him to sue him for battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. He demanded $15,000 for repairs, but the two of them were able to reach a settlement. You know what, if someone did that to my phone, I might have emotional distress too. Winning over the number 2 spot is Michael Jordan. The basketball legend has a handful of stories against him that claim he is just plain mean. One of them comes from the rapper Chamillionaire, who was thrilled to meet his basketball hero back in 2009. He says he crossed paths with Jordan at a party after spending $7,000 for one of his jerseys at a charity auction event before the party started. He says that he saw Jordan posing for pictures with some ladies at the party, so he felt that it would not be a problem to ask for one himself. He approached Jordan, who was sitting next to Spike Lee and Paul Pierce, and asked for a picture. According to the rapper, he responded with a racist term and said that he is not taking pictures with him. He tried to explain to him that he is a huge fan and paid $7,000 for one of his jerseys, and Jordan got mad and said, I quote, "You know what, I tell you what, you pay $150,000 right now for a jersey for me and I will take a picture with you." If that doesn't say that fame has gone to your head, then I don't know what does. And in case you're wondering, Sham the man never got a picture or an apology. Sniping the #1 spot is Christian Bale. It's hard to forget about his epic freakout moment on set that was caught on tape back in 2009. If for some reason you haven't seen it, during the filming of the Terminator movie, video footage leaked which captured the actor going off on this crazy rant on one of the crew members. You can actually hear the actor yell and cuss for a few minutes at the crew member who apparently walked behind him while he was filming the scene. You can hear the crew member explain himself and say that he was actually just looking at one of the lights because it's his job. But the actor just continues to cuss at him and calls him an amateur, telling him to stay off the effing set. The fight continued to escalate and he even threatens to kick his ass and trash his lights. He also went as far as saying that he will quit the movie if the crew member continues to work there. The audacity that Christian Bale has to act like that, I will be damned. He literally was yelling at him for doing his job. In the #10 spot is Shaquille O'Neal. Back in 2014, he made headlines after posting a mocking selfie on Instagram next to a picture of a man with a rare genetic disease. The man is Jamel Binyon, a regular guy living in Michigan who lives with ectodermal dysplasia, which affects his teeth and his hair. He ended up suing Shaq for $25,000 in damages for emotional distress. In his lawsuit, he claims offensive communications for sharing that photo with more than 8.4 million people worldwide, his followers obviously, and said that it was an invasion of privacy, defamation, and general negligence. Shaq did issue an apology after the lawsuit came, both privately and publicly. He actually tweeted, "Made a new friend today when I called and apologized to Jamel Binyon. Great dude, hashtag my bad cuz." Fans were not really impressed with his post in the first place and pointed out that he only thought he'd get away with it because of his celebrity status. Like, no one would ever post that. I don't even know why you thought that that was okay. Coming in at #9 is Gene Simmons. Some people would say he looks scary with all the makeup he wears as one of the KISS members, but I'm sure it would surprise people to learn that he is rude to the elderly. Apparently. This whole thing started when Modern Family star Eric Stonestreet shared a series of texts from his mom back in 2014. She texted him saying, "I think Gene Simmons is on my flight. Do you think I should go give him a kiss?" Get it? Turns out she's a fan of his and wanted his autograph, but before she could even ask for one, Simmons tried to force her to give up her seat. Eric shared the text from his mom, who explained that he tried to bully her out of her seat when she said no, and made comments like, "It's okay, I just bought the plane." Clearly trying to use his fame and money as a tactic to make her move. But she did not. You stay there, girlfriend. You stay in that seat. Swiping the #8 spot is Jennifer Lawrence. Does it count as fame gone to your head if you admit that you're rude to your fans on purpose? From the outside perspective, her fans are saying that she is cold to them in person, but from her side, she has intentions behind it. During an interview, the actress admitted to being rude to her fans and said it's how she keeps her defense up. She said, "Once I enter a public place, I become incredibly rude. I turn into a huge They say, 'Can I have a selfie?' and I'm like, no. I think that people think we are already friends because I am famous and they feel like they know me, but I don't know them. I have to protect my bubble." She went on to explain that when someone takes a picture of her and then posts it, within 2 seconds they've basically created a marker of her location. Which is totally true. Like, I can totally understand her perspective. I feel like I see both sides to it, but what do you guys think? Has the fame gone to her head? Or is she aware of the fame and this is her way of making sure that it doesn't go to her head? I don't know. In spot #7 is Sean Penn. It's hard to forget this story because it made news headlines, but maybe you need a refresher, or maybe this will be your first time hearing about it. Back in 2013, the actor flipped out on a fan in an upscale San Francisco hotel who took a picture of him on a cell phone. His entire explosive rant was captured and the footage surfaced online. Sean was at the hotel lobby bar when he saw a flash go off from the fan's cell phone. He lunges at the guy and screamed, "Do we look like effing zoo animals?" He probably did the head bobble there too. He then snatches the phone from the fan's hand and then slammed it to the ground and threatened that he would make him eat his cell phone if he didn't get the F out of there. The actor did not stop there though. He actually went and complained to the hotel management. The worst part about the story is that later on we learned that the fan actually attended the sales conference where Sean was speaking at. He even had his name tag on his shirt at the time of the altercation. Like, bruh, just let him take a picture of you. Cruising into the 6th spot is Kevin James. The King of Queens star seems like a huge teddy bear in the series, but supposedly he is not the nicest person in real life. Someone came forward and said that he was a waiter for him one time when he asked him if he wanted anything to drink. The actor responded with, "You were told not to speak to me." Apparently, Kevin's security guards went in first and told the waiters and staff to stay a certain distance from him. But the actor spoke on it and denied the story, saying that it is just a rumor. He spoke on it while doing an interview with Jimmy Fallon and said, "Can we check the facts on this one? If there was ever honestly a situation when I needed someone's undivided attention, it's gonna be when I'm ordering food from a restaurant." I mean, he does make a good point, but the question is he just covering up the story because he looked bad? We don't know the full truth, but if the waiter is telling the truth, that is some crazy diva stuff happening there. Like, to get your security guards to go into the restaurant first and let everyone know, like, don't look him in the eyes and don't go near him, that's a bit much. Halfway through the list is Roseanne Barr. She had her own TV series titled Roseanne, which ran through the years 1988 to 2018 with a total of 229 episodes. So to say she is famous is an understatement. But it all seemed like that all went to her head when she started to tweet out racist remarks against Barack Obama's former senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett. She referred to her as a child of the Muslim Brotherhood and something from Planet of the Apes. I mean, I feel like you have to feel pretty confident in your position in Hollywood to feel like you can say that and not have any kind of repercussion from it. ABC called an emergency meeting immediately, and just a few hours later her show was cancelled. She issued an apology, but at the same time she also defended herself by saying that she is a comedian and sometimes people get offended by jokes. Which is true, people do get easily offended by jokes. However, not quite appropriate. Very insensitive, and just not right. We've made it to number 4 and we have Miles Teller. He had a promising career for many years, but people saw a different side to him in 2015 and one that they didn't really like. He did an interview with Esquire and for some reason he thought it'd be appropriate to tell the female writer and their waitress that the bar glass was modeled after his private parts, if you know what I'm saying. He obviously used a much more like vulgar term, but for the sake of this channel being shut down, I am not gonna say it. You guys know what I mean. He also had a really sassy attitude and tried to demand the writer to cut his meat for him when their food came. But after the interview came out, he voiced his side, saying that things were changed around. He told Vulture, I quote, "If how that story made me look is how I really was, I'd think I was the biggest douchebag too. I know who I am and it's not who I was in that story." So, who do we trust? That is the question. In our 3rd spot is Pierce Brosnan. At first glance, you probably wouldn't think that he could be a rude man. His good looks, talent, and charm won over the hearts of many people when he played James Bond in the late 90s. But people's opinions may have changed after talk show host and comedian James Corden revealed that he was rude when he ran into him. While playing a game on his own talk show in 2017, he was asked who the rudest celebrity is that he ever met, and Pierce was his answer. James said he went to see U2 and Pierce was there with some of his friends and they left halfway through. So James, who was with his wife at the time, moved into that area. As we all do. But then Pierce came and apparently pushed James out of the way, and James tried to like say hi and explain what was happening, but I guess Pierce just put up his arm to block him and wouldn't even acknowledge him. Making our way to number 2, we have Faye Dunaway. The Academy Award winner has been in hot water on many occasions throughout her career for her bizarre and disrespectful behavior. Most recently in 2019, she was fired from her Broadway play, Tea at 5, because of her erratic demands on set. Apparently, she was throwing objects at crew members, slapping members of her wig fitting team. She also threw one of her salads on the floor and also insisted that no one wear white to rehearsal because it's distracting. But things got even worse and she got sued by one of her assistants, Michael Rocca, who claims she verbally harassed him and referred to him as a little homosexual boy. His job was to run around and take care of things that she demanded each day, and he turned in audio evidence of her abuse where she often used his sexual orientation to demean and humiliate him. I don't know if that's fame gone to your head or if that's just like, you're just plain like not a good person. Taking our number 1 spot is Bob Dylan. It's not totally surprising to think that the Nobel Prize winner might have a bit of an ego. I mean, that is quite the award to win. I might be feeling pretty good if I won that too. There has been a variety of reported incidents where he has come off as a diva. One stagehand who worked on his show said that he is famous for threatening to get them fired if any stagehands make eye contact with him. The employee said, "We aren't allowed to be around when he's playing since we didn't pay for tickets, even though it can take days to set up his show." And you know that Nobel Prize I told you that he won? Well, one Nobel Academy member came forward and called him impolite and arrogant after he refused to pick up their phone calls after the award was announced. I mean, I don't want to assume that he wasn't answering their calls on purpose, but I do understand, like, you probably should have put some effort into answering their phone calls, seeing as you're about to win the Nobel Prize award. Yeah, and as for the show, come on. Can you imagine like hiding your music like from the people who are setting up your entire show? Like, you can't be near me, you didn't buy a ticket. Like, bruh, you don't have a stage to perform on if it's not for me. Imagine that.